Previously on Northwest Fishing Fanatics.
That's not bad.
Oh yeah, come on. Let's go.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We went back to the bottom. Got myself a steely, baby. Good morning. Before I head up to my favorite spot, I'm gonna hit my second favorite spot. That spot's already up there in the sun. This one is still in the shade a little bit. Now what I've got on here today is the same exact thing that I had on here last week when I caught that fish. I need to get my tree stands up. I believe September 1st or September 7th is opening day deer, Western Washington archery. And so I need to get my tree stands up. I got two of them. Oh. It would be really nice to catch a steelhead right here and just get it over with. Get this. I told my wife I wanted to come up here for a couple hours, catch fish, and come home. I just have a feeling there's a fish out there. There's got to be a fish there. So before I leave, I'm going to make a long cast here, because I do want to fish this inside edge of this slow water. Get it way out there. I love those long casts when that line just flies out there, you know, and gently lands on the water. So beautiful. Oh, that was a big Chinook. Oh my goodness. You probably didn't see that. Hopefully I caught it on this camera. There is a huge Chinook out there. Big old king. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh man, that would be so excited if I could get it on this thing. That thing came up right out of the water. Oh my gosh, come on. He's right there. Oh man, just knowing there's a fish there, you know, that is a fish that big. It looked dark, but man, I sure would be happy to catch that sucker on this fly rod. Oh. I'm just going to take a minute and soak in the beauty of this river. Okay, that's enough. This is the same spot that I've been fishing since I was a kid. I am not joking. This spot here has produced for over 50 years. I mean, that's as long as longer than that, because my dad, he was a massive fly fisherman. He taught me everything I know about fly fishing. He would come down here and it wouldn't be anything for him to catch 2 or 3 steelhead. He was just persistent, knew where they were, knew how to present to them. He was an amazing, amazing fly fisherman and bow hunter. And I miss him a lot. Think about him every day. Especially when I'm on the river, of course. I'm just gonna start off right here by relaxing on this rock. I do have to check my fly though. Looked like it might have had some weed on it. How you doing?
Good.
Nothing like the smell of two-stroke in the morning.
Not trying to scare your fish away.
Not trying to, huh?
Any luck?
Not today. Well, there you have it. I just ran their boat right up in here. So I wasn't catching any fish there anyway. So I moved back down to the spot where I started this morning. Sometimes that's all it takes. I was kind of getting a little bit toward the end of my fishing excursion because of the lack of activity up there anyway. So those guys pushing me out of my spot forced me to come down here into a new location, a different location, which changed my entire attitude, and we're starting over fresh again. So I'm gonna catch a fish, and we're gonna do it right out there. Start off with the same old woolly worm that I had on earlier up there. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, right there. Oh, it's a trout. Oh, it's a trout on the top fly. Oh. We need to get him in so we can safely release him. Come here. Oh, come here. Come here. Oh. Oh, come here, baby. Hold still. I'm gonna let you go. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, rainbow. Top fly. Right in the bottom jaw. There he goes. He's fine. I'm gonna call it quits and go put up my tree stands. We got opening day of early archery coming up soon, so I gotta get the tree stands up. I am back. I let the water cool down for a few days, and so I didn't catch anything last time I was out, so I'm back down here. Should not get chased out of my spot. There's nobody down here now except me, and I have something new. Check this out. I told you I was gonna order a switch rod. I did, and here she is. Nothing fancy. In one of my other videos, I said I don't do anything fancy. But let me tell you something. This rod, reel and line combo, is probably the cheapest thing I have ever bought in my entire life. It's so cheap that the company that made it didn't even put a brand name, size, or any indication or markings on the rod itself. If I remember correctly, I think it was a Vantec. Got it off of Amazon. One of the cheapest rods I could find. I just wanted to see how well it was going to do. If it breaks while I'm landing a fish, well, that'll just be more fun, right? The reel itself, Angler's Choice, I think it is what it is. Aluminum, large arbor fly reel. It seems like a decent reel. It's got a drag that works okay. It's a little clunky, you know, when you tighten it down a lot, you can feel it, you know, grabbing a little bit, but it was only like 25 bucks. And then the line itself, it was like $18. So this whole entire thing only cost me about 155 bucks. That's with shipping. Crazy. It's the cheapest thing I've ever bought as far as hunting or fishing equipment. But hey, what the heck? It is a switch rod. You can use it as a two-hand rod or a single rod. Has a replaceable butt end that you can switch out. It's 10 feet long, number 8. So it's lighter than my spey rod, shorter than my spey rod, and that'll be a little bit more fun catching these steelhead. So my wife was picking apples. I'm gonna eat this apple on the trail, and I will see you up at the spot. Let's catch a fish. I'm gonna go right out there and fish that place first. Let's go. Now I just have to remember what rock I put my glasses on. Ah, yes. That's better. They're a cheap pair of polarized glasses, but I don't want to donate them to the river. This spot is going to be right across from where I keep seeing the fish roll. And this is the, I don't know if you can tell, but right there, that's the last big boulder in this series of boulders up here. No more boulders to fish between or stand on. And I got this big tree behind me for my back casts. Okay, well, there's apparently no fish in this spot. Oh, right there. Now see, this little guy is a lot of fun on this little rod. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Isn't that funny? I just said they're right there behind those rocks, and there he is. Little guy. Little guy, let's get him in. I don't want to hurt him. Woo, he's jumping down there. Come on, baby. Putting up a little bit of a fight for what he is. Here he comes. Oh, he's on the top fly. Oh yeah, little trout. We're gonna let him go, obviously. Look at that. Look at that little guy. See you later, alligator. I'm back again. Good morning. Today, I'm back with the spey rod. That cheap rod I bought from Amazon worked out to be nothing more. It was supposed to be a switch rod. Maybe it is a switch rod. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. So I spent 150 bucks on a complete fly fishing rig for nothing, but I got another fly rod. So kind of messed up my shoulder again too, so I'm back with the spay rod. Today is an unusual morning. I woke up this morning, it's not very early, it's like 9 a.m. It's quiet, there's nobody down here, which is exactly the way I like it. And it was thundering and lightning. Oh, it was crazy, and it was raining. So I figured, you know, my dad always told me that the best times to fish were before and after a thunderstorm. And of course, so here I am. The sun is just coming out over the trees. As you can see, it's going to turn out to be a beautiful day. I am here in my favorite spot, and hopefully the change in the barometric pressure will make these fish want to hit. I know there were fish here yesterday because I could see them rising, but this is actually the third day of fishing. A couple 2-3 hours each day trying to catch a fish. So let's see if today is the day, huh? Been here for about maybe 5 minutes. Haven't seen or heard anything yet, but I'm absolutely positive that there are fish here. So let's go see what we can do. Sneak right into my favorite starting spot, which is right here in this sandy gravel area behind this rock. Go on the other side of that rock over there, try to get in between the seam. Let's move a little bit further out. Oh, what's that? Oh, what do we got? Oh, it came off. Oh, that was a fish. Oh, I don't know if the camera caught that down there. Oh, shoot. Oh, hit my rod. Oh, no. Oh, I lost my fly. I lost my fly. That was the only fly I had that was like that. I'll tell you what, if there's a way to get a tangle, I'm gonna find it. I can't go out very far right here because, believe it or not, it's pretty deep. Drop off. So as I was mentioning about my dad, you know, being a heck of a sportsman, he actually bow hunted with me and my family until the time he couldn't, you know, bow hunt anymore. And even after that, what he did was, when he couldn't make it up the hill, he stayed in camp, hunted around camp, which was easy for him, and just made sure that we were taken care of. Because back in the day, I had a regular job. That was before, you know, I became a real estate broker. And we would spend 2 weeks every year up near Mount Rainier, and we set up a huge base camp. We had a huge base camp with all the amenities to try to make my dad and my family as comfortable as possible. So for several years in a row, it was me and my wife, my dad, and both my sons. This was before my daughter was born. And we would stay 2 weeks up there. Take a 55-gallon drum of water, so we had enough, you know, fresh water. And then if we ever needed fresh water, we'd go into town or find a local creek, you know, and fill up. But we spent 2 weeks up there, up and down the mountainside, chasing wapiti, chasing elk. As a family. Then, of course, as some of you may know, life changes things. People change. Kids grew up. My daughter was born, so my wife stopped hunting. My dad got old. Next thing you know, it was just me. So for probably 10 years, well, maybe not. Dad's been gone for 5, yeah. So for the last 5 years or so, I have been going up elk hunting myself as a lone wolf, just to commemorate the family tradition, to keep that going. But last year was the last year that I that I did it. And this year I don't plan on doing it. It's September, well, it's August 27th right now, 28th, something like that. And elk season is coming up September 7th, I believe. Early elk, Western Washington. And I didn't even, this is the first year, and oh man, 35, first year in about probably 35 years that I have not bought a hunting license, and I'm not going to elk hunt. It was just, it's getting too much. It's getting to be too much for me. The circle of life, right? I'm sure my dad probably hit a wall at some point too. And the funny thing is, you know, when you're young, you don't think about how the older people feel and react, because you can't relate. You know, you might say you can, you might try to relate, but you can't until you actually get there yourself. Then it starts making sense. Oh, that's why my dad was always sore. Oh, that's why he struggled with everything, because he can't see, or he lost the agility in his fingers, you know, so he can't tie knots anymore. He can't walk up the hill because his knees are hurt and his back is sore. He doesn't have the ambition that he used to. All this stuff, you know, you don't understand when you're young. You can hear it, and you can sympathize with people, but you don't really know what it's like until you get there. And we are all going to get there at some time. I remember days when I come down here with my dad fly fishing, you know, for the weekend, and we'd go out and we'd split up. You know, he'd go above me, I'd go below him or whatever. And I was young at the time, but man, he could out, I don't know how old he was. He must have been probably 55, maybe 60 at that time. And he could outfish me. He would fish all day long, you know, just all day, just wham wham on that fly rod, and always caught more fish. As a matter of fact, back then, you know, we didn't have cameras. Not everybody had a camera with him. So, you know, he would catch fish and he'd take Polaroids. And so most of the pictures that he ever took never had people in them, because he was kind of a loner guy. You know, that's probably where I get it. But he was a loner. And so he would go bow hunting by himself, you know, didn't elk hunt by himself. He always did that with me. But yeah, he was always a loner. So he'd go fishing by himself. And most of the pictures that in our photo albums are of his fish that he's caught. Not of people taking pictures of him fishing, because there was never anybody around. He was always by himself. And back then, when I fished with him, you know, we didn't carry cameras. Not everybody had a cell phone, so nobody had pictures with them or cameras with them. And so any pictures that you had to actually take, you know, with a camera of the 110, the little square thing, you know, or the Polaroids. Now everybody has a camera. Everything is recorded. We're actually going to move down a little bit to get on the next rock. Get up on this big boulder. This is the last set of big boulders here. Gotta be careful getting up these things too, because man, they are slick. To these outside these boulders first. Come on. Close to me. I am getting hot. I'm gonna have to take this jacket off. Well, that's much better. Got my jacket tucked in my waders here. That's not a pooch, that's a jacket. I'm gonna finish off this drift and we're gonna walk down to the rock pile. See if there's any fish here that want to play. That looks like a rock. Now I got to double check it to make sure I don't have any weeds on there. Looks weed free. Oh, there's a little jumping trout right there. Oh man, there's a little trout. Let's see if we can get him up right here. Whoa. Okay, we don't want to fall in. Come on, trout. You guys, but oh, I see what's wrong. There he goes. My my lower fly was hung up, so he was like hanging in the air. Oh, look at this little guy. I'll let him go. I'll let you go, fella. Oh, it just came loose. There you go. Little trout. Let's see if we can catch a fish right here in this spot. I might have mentioned in my one of my other videos that my dad was just a fantastic fly fisherman, but he would fish for those things with regular flies, you know, like size 12 and size 14 gnats, blue duns. That was one of his favorite flies, and he'd land those fish, you know, 8, 10, 12 pound steelhead. And the biggest fish that he's ever caught was caught with a woolly worm. He had it mounted. I've got it mounted at the house. And it's, I'll show you a picture of it. As a matter of fact, here's a picture of it right here. It's got to be, you know, a 14-pound fish. It's just a massive fish. But I'll never forget the last day he tried to fly fish. He had gone downhill, you know, with age and dementia. And this was before he actually lost the ability to communicate. I mean, he communicated with his eyes. And for the last like 5 years of his life, you know, we'd go out to breakfast every Wednesday at Wendy's in the north end of Tacoma. And I would talk and he would listen. And I could get his responses by asking questions, and then he would nod his head. And so after, you know, a series of questions, we could actually communicate in his eyes, his facial expressions and everything, but he couldn't talk. But the last time he tried to go fishing, he tried to fly fish, he was probably, oh my gosh, probably 80, 81, somewhere around there, maybe 81, 82. And we were down here at the river, me and my wife, and he decided that he wanted to go fishing. And he could barely walk at this time, you know, on level ground and pavement, let alone trying to walk in the river and try to fish. But he insisted on going. He would not listen to me. I couldn't stop him. So we sat there and we watched him put his waders on, which took a long time. And he grabbed his walking stick and fly rod, and he headed down the river, and he started to fish. And he disappeared off into the distance, and I could have swore that was going to be the last time I ever saw him. But he came back about 2 hours later. He didn't walk back up the river because it was too hard for him. So he walked down to, at that time it wasn't Scott's place, my buddy's, but it was oh gosh, Sam Wheeler's place, right at the end, the last parcel in this subdivision here. Not subdivision. What the hell? Oh gosh. I'm on that rock way down there. Oh, there's no way I'm gonna get this off. Oh, there it goes. Whew, I thought that was a fish. It was a rock. But he walked down the river, fished, and then walked back up the road. Oh, I lost my fly. Oh, I pulled it off on that rock down there. Oh, that does happen. But he ended up walking back up the road. And that was probably, that has to be at least 5 years or 6 years before he passed. But he was a hell of a fly fisherman, a hell of a bow hunter. Oh, yeah. The trophies on our wall, I'll show them to you here. The trophies on our wall, about 80% of them are his, dating back to the 60s. Boar, you know, exotic deer, you know, from places like France. And he was in the military, so he traveled around and hunted. And so that's where most of those come from. And some of these are mine as well, but most of them are from my dad. He was a heck of a sportsman.